Is it justified for me to distance myself from Dad after he put his new family first, leaving me behind? When I was 13, my dad started seeing this woman named Janet and left my mom. I didn't really like Janet, to be honest. Dad moved in with her, and at first my sister and I would still go see him every weekend. Got to admit, he was still a good dad back then. But things changed when Janet got pregnant and had their son. Suddenly, we weren't visiting as much, and Dad was all about his new family. He started missing my recitals and my sister's competitions because he was busy with his son. When I was 16, Janet got this new job offer that meant moving away. My sister and I practically begged Dad not to leave, but all he said was, "I gotta put my family first." And then he up and moved like 10 hours away. That was pretty much the end of our relationship. I decided to cut contact because it was clear he didn't see us as family anymore. My sister, though, she kept in touch with him. He'd try calling me, asking me to visit along with her, but I always said no. Even when he came back to visit my sister, I'd just ignore him when he showed up at the house. Didn't even bother inviting him to my high school or college graduations. Now I'm 33 and still haven't talked to him. Over the years, he's been on my case trying to reach out, even getting his family involved to try and patch things up. I've dodged family gatherings just in case he showed up, like at my sister's wedding and baby showers. 3 months back, he and his crew moved back to our hometown, and he's been going all out to make things right. I've been getting messages from my half-siblings, saying he's a great dad and all wanting to connect. And now that he's found out about my upcoming wedding, he's been hounding me, even trying to talk to my fiancée. So Janet decides to drop me a message, saying I've been breaking my dad's heart over and over, and that I'm pathetic and need therapy. I didn't hold back, shot her a message calling her a home-wrecking whore, and then bam, blocked her. Now it feels like everyone's on my case, telling me to patch things up with Dad. Sick of the constant pressure and running into him and his crew around town. When I spot them, I just turn around and walk away, no words exchanged. The whole gang's at it, mom, sis, even grandparents, aunts, uncles, and yeah, some friends too. And now even my fiancé is giving me grief, saying I'm in the wrong for keeping Dad out. Starting to feel overwhelmed. So am I the a-hole? Update 1, 8 hours later. Thanks for all the comments. Looks like most of you think I'm not the a-hole, but there were a few who disagreed. Some of you had some good advice, which I'm definitely considering. Just had a chat with my fiancé, and honestly, it didn't go too great. Right now, I'm feeling like I've had it up to here and just want to disappear forever. My fiancé knows all about the drama with my dad and Janet. I tried explaining how I'm taking Dad's side and pushing me was really hurting me. I mean, come on, as my fiancé, he should be on my team, right? So my fiancé, who goes by Larry, drops this bomb on me, saying he can't back me up if he thinks I'm in the wrong. Claims he's talked to my dad and thinks if we all sit down and chat, we can fix things up and make peace. I straight up told Larry I'm not up for that. I want zero contact and can't understand why he's even chatting with my dad. Turns out his old man, who's buddies with my dad, put him up to it. Larry hits me with this bombshell, saying my dad's head over heels for me and always wanted to be in my life. Claims he's got pictures of me, probably snagged them from my family since my social media's locked down. Larry reckons my dad's torn up about how things are between us, thinks I'm being too stubborn about him moving away when I was a kid. Then he drops this line about Janet and how I apparently messed things up there too. According to Larry, everyone else can see it except me, and I need to take a good look in the mirror cause apparently I'm the issue. I totally lost it and started bawling, asking Larry why he's doing this to me, why he's not backing me up. And then he goes and drops the heartless bitch bomb on me. That was it for me. I stood up, told him he shouldn't marry someone he sees as a heartless bitch, and stormed out. Now I'm just sitting in my car, phone buzzing off the hook with Larry trying to reach me, but I'm not in the mood to talk. Feel like everything and everyone's slipping away, and I'm just lost here, not knowing what's going on. Update 2, 18 hours later. Thanks for all the comments and letting me vent to you. Really needed an outside perspective on this. I know a bunch of you are saying I should cut ties with my fam and skip town, but financially that's not happening for me. All my dough's tied up in my business here, and I've finally got it rolling with steady cash flow. Moving ain't on the table. Plus, I love my crew and my hometown too much to bail. This place is my jam, been here since day one, and I'm not ready to bounce. So, quick update cause a lot went down today. First off, I caved and agreed to meet Dad to hash things out and get him to back off. Asked Mum to set it up, just him, no entourage. Didn't think he'd go for it, but bam, within 15 minutes of her call, he's knocking on the door. I asked Mum to stick around and help mediate. Summing up the chat is a bit of a jumble because there was a lot to take in. Me. I pleaded with him to give me some breathing room, lay off trying to rally everyone to his side and let me do my thing. Told him straight up, he stopped being my dad the minute he moved 10 hours away. Spilled about how Janet's been a real piece of work to me, all the nasty stuff she said over the years. Venting about how he chose Janet and their new crew over me, how he made it crystal clear they were his priority, not me, his own flesh and blood. Called him out for being a jerk about my college fund, trying to blackmail me with it, then splurging it on his new fam. Fed up with missing out on big family shindigs because he showed up and made things super awkward. Can't stand his son and daughter, don't see them as family, and sick of them trying to cozy up to me. He keeps causing scenes whenever he spots me, making me out to be the villain. He keeps worming his way into my life, showing up at my fiance's fam gigs, sneaking behind my back to chat with Larry and bend his ear to his side. And to top it off, I can't stand how he cheated on Mom, tore our family apart, and then listened to Janet, who messed with our plans, skipped my performances and cared more about his son. Him claims he loves me to bits and won't ever stop trying to reconnect. Thinks he's given me enough space already and wants to hear about my life straight from the source. Swears he's head over heels for Janet and wouldn't trade his 2 kids for the world. Regrets how things went down with Mom, but figures it all worked out for the best. Says his kids from Janet are innocent bystanders and I shouldn't take my frustrations out on them. Insists they just want to bond with their big sis. Paints me as the problem child, saying I was a handful, mouthing off and trashing Janet's stuff, ruining our outings. Blames my arguments for Janet's high-risk pregnancy stress, so he cut down on our weekend visits for her and his son's sake. But he still kept in touch over the phone and took us out, just no sleepovers. When his son was born premature with health issues and Janet was dealing with postpartum depression, he had to be there for them, missing out on some events with us. Janet couldn't snag a local gig, and this golden opportunity popped up, so they had to bounce. He insists he made the effort to swing back into town on weekends to see us, and always threw out invites for vacays. Called me up every day, but I turned a cold shoulder, wouldn't even give him the time of day. They jetted in for my graduation bash, but I refused to let him in on the action. Dude lost his cool, yanked back my college fund. Later, he tried to make things right, offered me the dough, but I turned it down. It's still sitting there, untouched, waiting for me to ask. He swung by my college pad trying to talk, but I slammed the door in his face. No way he's missing out on fam gigs. He's all about making a scene because he misses me, just wants to chat and make amends, but I keep ducking out or hurling insults at him and Janet. Been trying for 16 years to patch things up, but I shut him down every time. All he wants is to be a dad to me. He's tight with my fiance's old man, hoping maybe my fiancé could get through to me and open up a dialogue. Thinks I never gave Janet a fair shake, no matter how hard she tried at first. Wishes we could just keep it civil. Janet's not thrilled knowing I badmouth her, treat her kids poorly, and won't give him the time of day he wants. Dad's hitting up therapy and wants me to join for some family sessions. Wants someone on one time to hang. Hopes I'll cut out the rude vibes and actually bond with his kids. Wants the trash talk about Janet to end, and for me to actually give her a shot. Oh, and he's angling for an invite to my wedding and to stroll me down the aisle. I want Dad to quit reaching out to my pals and trying to get them to talk to me on his behalf. Janet to stay far, far away from me, no exceptions. Can handle being civil at events or around town, just as long as he doesn't invade my space with hugs or chit-chat. Mom stepped in, said some of Dad's wishes are a bit out there, especially regarding Janet and the other kids, so for now we're settling on a compromise. I'll tag along for 3 therapy sessions when he sets them up. Mom's also suggesting some solo therapy for me. Dad's gonna back off from meddling in my life and relationships. He's promising to keep Janet at bay and chat with his kids to give me some breathing room. And I'll play nice in public as long as he respects my bubble and doesn't come too close or hassle me. As for my fiancée, still haven't said a word to him. Dude showed up at Mom's, but she shut him down at the door. Now he's blowing up my phone and so are his crew, all begging me to hear him out. Had a chat with Dad and found out he's been footing most of the bills for our wedding, and him and Larry have been on good terms longer than I realized. Larry swore up and down his fam covered those costs, and I took his word for it. Feeling pretty betrayed and like I can't trust him. I know I'll have to face him eventually, but I'm just not feeling ready yet. Update 3, 6 days later. Just wanted to drop a quick apology for taking down my previous posts. I was feeling super overwhelmed and just needed some space to clear my head without all the constant messages. Some of you were really supportive and I appreciate that, but man, some of the hate I got was just awful. Updating for those who've been supportive and asking for an update. This is going to be my last post for a while though. So the deal with Dad? Yeah, that's totally off the table. Dude couldn't even make it a week without crossing the line. No therapy sessions with him, and I'm sticking to the no contact rule. As y'all know, we hashed out some terms after our chat. Keep Janet away from me. Tell his kids to back off. Don't push me or invade my space. Lasted a grand total of 3 days. Everyone acted like I'd magically forgiven Dad and started piling on the praise. My sister was pumped that I was giving him a shot, and after some pressure, I caved and agreed to dinner with just her and Dad. But when we rocked up at the restaurant, it was like a family reunion. Dad had invited Janet, my grandparents, his son, his daughter, the whole gang. And then he tried to hug me. Nope, not cool. Man, as soon as I saw them all there, I was like, what the heck? Dad starts laying down the law, saying if we want to fix things, I got to accept Janet and the younger sibs. I'm like, you just broke our deal, dude, and make a beeline for the exit. But nope, Dad's not having it, grabs me and won't let go. And then bam, all hell breaks loose. I'm yelling, Dad, Janet, and the grandparents are trying to play mind games, telling me to sit down. But when that doesn't fly, things get heated real quick. Shouting match kicks off, and let me tell you, some real nasty stuff gets said. Dad and Janet start throwing jabs about my looks and straight up call me a psychopath. My half-bro walks out, and my half-sis starts bawling. But then, shocker of the century, sis steps up and has my back, giving Dad a piece of her mind for wrecking things after I finally gave him a shot. She even gives Janet a good old slap. She gets me out of there and apologizes. I think it was the first time she really saw how Janet treated me. Kept saying she couldn't wrap her head around Dad saying he'd do anything to patch things up, then pulling a stunt like this when he finally had the chance. Dad's been blowing up my phone, but I blocked him and shut him out. Refused to talk to the grandparents too. He's been trying to sweet talk Mom and Sis into talking to me, but I reckon he's burnt those bridges. The incident from the restaurant has spread and some people seem to be backing off. Like I said, what Dad and Janet spat at me was beyond out of line, and in a small town like this, news travels fast. Hoping folks will just ease up, but for those who won't, looks like I might have to cut them loose. Sis is livid with Dad and Janet, ain't giving them the time of day. She's blaming them for me going me again, and she's not letting them near her kids either. Don't know if she'll ever patch things up, cause right now she's seeing red. Mom's on the same page, gave Dad and Janet a piece of her mind and swore off pressuring me to talk to him ever again. I've decided I'm going to hit up some solo therapy, think I definitely need it after all this drama. Feeling kinda guilty about my half-sibs cause they ain't done nothing wrong. Maybe down the road, I'll be up for some kinda distant relationship with them, but for now, I'm just not there yet. Sent him a message on Facebook to say sorry and let him know they're not to blame. Oh, and lastly, update on the fiancé front. Finally had a chat with him yesterday about everything. Been ghosting him since I stormed out. Turns out Larry's old man put the squeeze on him to chat with my dad, spinning some sob story about a dad just wanting to connect with his daughter. Larry was getting ticked off with me ditching his fam's gigs and bailing on his mom's birthday bash when I found out Dad and Janet were there because he was catching heat from his crew about me supposedly ruining their shindigs. Dude just wanted everyone to be all rainbows and sunshine, even if it meant me getting the short end of the stick. Larry spilled the beans that my dad actually footed some of the wedding vendors' bills, but he didn't know till after the fact. His old man fed him a line about him and his mom coughing up the cash. Dad told Larry it was a gift, his way of chipping in, and Larry confessed Dad asked him to speak to me on his behalf. I laid it out for Larry, told him he'd broken my trust big time and I couldn't see myself tying the knot with someone who doesn't have my back. Dude straight up broke down, tears and all, saying sorry and swearing he'd never pull a stunt like that again. Larry was devastated and begged for another shot. To those of you who are rooting for a breakup, sorry to let you down, but we're going to give it a shot at working through this. Besides this mess, he's been an awesome partner, and I really believe he got played by his family and my dad. Larry's promised to put his foot down with his fam and cut ties with my dad. Still bunking at Mum's because I need some space, and I won't get that back home. Next week, we're going to hit up our wedding vendors and suss out our options. Larry's pushing for a delay rather than calling it quits altogether. But hey, we might still split. Actions speak louder than words, and I gotta see if he can rebuild what we had and prove I can count on him.